Shedeur Sanders has opted to not pass during the NFL Combine. Is this sharp or not sharp from the potential top pick?
Sharp. Getting a situation where you're familiar, throwing to guys that you're familiar with. You know them. You know that they know your intricacies. Yes, this is very sharp. I have no problem with this. This is not something that's uncommon. It happens a lot. And so I agree with Shedeur on this one. This is very sharp.
Only 2 quick points, Shannon. Number one, he ain't doing a damn thing that his father doesn't okay when it comes to football. So I know this is his daddy's advice, and I'm good with it. Whatever Deion says, do it, number one. And number two, I've always been opposed at dudes having to go through another workout after they played their careers. You've seen enough footage on them. Why should they have to work out for you? Other than finding out how healthy they are, their game should be their game to be evaluated. So I don't mind.
All right, we'll leave it there. When we come back...
Hey, Bartholomew, another one he's suggesting. The Raiders should trade up to take Shedeur Sanders. You love it or leave it?
I love it because you have to take big swings, especially when you talk about this may be the only division in football that's ever had 4 Hall of Fame coaches in it at one time. And then also you talk about the other 3 teams within the division was in the playoffs. So who are you going to put behind center? You have to take a chance on hoping that you can find a franchise quarterback. If not, you're going to find yourself at the bottom of the division over and over again.
Tim has
Brady's his basic football guy.
Yeah, Brady would be there to be sort of his godfather, if you will. Tim, we'll dive into this deeply when you're up here this week. What do you think of this on first blush?
Well, I don't like it because of the amount that it would take to move up. A lot of people are saying that he could end up being #1 overall. To move that much is way too much. Even if you're moving 2 or 3 spots up, I think you're giving up too much. And I don't really think that the delta between Shedeur and this next group of quarterbacks, Tyler Shuck, Kyle McCord, Jackson Dart, I don't think it's going to be that significant through the evaluation process for everybody. So I think giving up so much to move just a few spots in the first round when you really don't know, to me, it just doesn't feel like it's worth it.
All right, let's come back to this one here because I want to get to what is clearly the story of the NFL moment. But let's bookmark the Shedeur piece of it because I want to come back to that. But Graziano, let's get to the Matthew Stafford of it. I'm on my vacation. I'm trying to keep up with what the heck is going on. It's
from a team evaluation perspective, sure, they would love to see you do it. But from a player perspective, if you cannot do it and it won't impact where you get drafted or at what level you get drafted, then it really doesn't make sense to do it. I just remember being at the Giants and Eli always joked about how he had never been timed in a 40 ever in his entire life. Guess what? That wasn't by accident, okay? And so the reality is a similar thing can happen, when you're talking about throwing.
Yeah, I completely understand why he's not doing it. Throwing at the combine is no longer a must. You do it, as Tim pointed out, if you have the utmost confidence in your arm strength and your arm talent. The quarterbacks that have been named who did do it over the years, a lot of them were guys with stronger arms. And I don't think Sanders has much to gain from doing it in that environment where you're just being compared to other players in this one metric. And really, I don't see how that benefits him in the pre-draft process. I will say, though, it does, to me, highlight the discrepancy between him and Ward to some degree, which isn't to say Ward's throwing, but rather the difference in arm strength and arm talent, which is just my biggest question mark about Sanders. He is accurate. He is smart. He does not have a cannon. Now, you can make up for that in the NFL with anticipation and accuracy, but what it means is that the margin for error you have is smaller because you're not able to compensate for, to make problems right solely with your arm. So I don't think this was a must for Sanders, but to me, it does highlight, or at least draw into question, what I personally believe is his biggest weakness.
Oh, it's definitely not a must. You're 100% right there, Beta. And he will still be drafted probably in the top 7 picks. And again, it's become the norm for guys not to do it. My stance is this is a missed opportunity to leapfrog a Cam Ward or to put more distance between yourself and those other quarterbacks. Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe. Those guys are all going to be throwing, we anticipate. So it's more about, can you put that distance between yourself? And Ryan mentioned Caleb Williams didn't throw last year. J.J. McCarthy did, and I think that helped him. Bo Nix did, and it definitely helped. And the guy that helped more than anyone last year was Michael Penix Jr., who has a much bigger arm than Shedeur Sanders. But, Shedeur's trademark, like his business card as a quarterback, he's accurate as all get out. He's surgical. C.J. Stroud was the same way and put on one of the best throwing performances ever at the Combine. And I do think it helped separate him from Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. So is it a must? Is he going to fall down my board because he's not throwing this week? Absolutely not. But it is a missed opportunity for him to make up some ground with the guy, Cam Ward, who is right now the consensus #1 quarterback.
Yeah, and obviously he is going to throw and work out at Colorado's Pro Day, and that'll be a popular one. Travis Hunter there as well. By the way, the date on that is not set yet.